G'day people, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel, broadcasting right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have a prototype piece from a new brand based right here in Australia, actually, Atmoss watches. The founder Warwick reached out and offered to lend me a prototype for this review, and always happy to support Aussie entrepreneurs. This particular box, it's not particularly spinnable, probably only a 2.5. This isn't actually going to be the production box. This is just a prototype. I think he's going to make some updates for the actual production. Now the watch will come with a rubber strap as well, and this is pretty good rubber strap. I'll talk about this a little bit more later. Just get the watch out to show you guys now. So guys, this is the prototype of the Atmoss SR-01 Everyday Pilot's Watch. Now, this is going to be launching on Kickstarter, and as of the release of this video, Kickstarter is going to be running, and the links to the campaign below if you want to check that out directly. I believe the launch price will be US 350. For Australian buyers, that is 490. 5 roughly, AUD, and that's the introductory price. I suspect that's probably going to be the realistic sale price of this watch going forward, but you can let me know what you think later. Okay, first up, just going to put some specs of the watch on screen for you guys to see. Not going to read them all out this time, pause them if you want to look at the details yourself. Now, moving on from that now, the case, as per the advertising materials, 41mm case. Now, the bezel is slightly overhanging the case. Hopefully you can appreciate that on the side shots here. And the bezel is 41.5mm. Okay, so the actual case diameter, 41mm. Overall thickness, including the crystal on top there, right, bottom of the watch to the top of the crystal, is 11.5mm, so pretty thin, pretty nicely done here. 20mm lug width and 48.5mm between my thumbnails there in terms of lug to lug distance. The weight, I've removed about 2 links from the full bracelet, is 140 grams adjusted weight. If you change the bracelet out to the rubber strap, it's only 95 grams, so quite light and quite easy to forget, nearly forgettable in terms of the weight on the wrist at 95 grams in my opinion. In terms of finishing, he's gone for a fully brushed finish here, so circular brushing on the top and bottom surfaces of the lugs there, horizontal brushing on the sides there. Okay, fully brushed finishing on the case. It's also fully brushed on this bracelet here. Okay, so I think that kind of meets the criteria of the everyday watch. You don't want too much bling, if you were gonna use this practically, but I reckon a little bit of polish might have been a nice addition. That's just my opinion there. The display back, you've kind of seen that already. Okay, I think I'll put some of that on the movement earlier. The display back is a screw down display back, and the sign crown is actually relatively small. I think that's not a bad thing at all. It's kind of out of the way, but it's got a screw down, small size sign crown. The water rating that he's gone for here is 100 meters, which is not bad. That does give it a very everyday functionality, including for swimming if you want to take this swimming. Okay, moving on to the dial now. So what we have here is a matte black, quite minimalistic style dial, and despite the details on the ruler, the dial itself in the middle is quite minimalistic, and I quite like that. It's got the full applied indices. The logo is printed, all the other words are printed, as is the slide rule scale on the flange, right? Talking about the dial here. The handset is a simple matte finish block and baton handset, right? You've got quite a simple block for the hour, and then you've got the baton for the minute, and a simple stick for the second hand here. Loom wise, BGW9 on all hands, as well as all 12 index positions. Loom shot right here, of course, for you guys to see how it looks like in the dark. Okay, moving on from there. Now above the dial we have a very slightly domed sapphire crystal. I don't mind that. I like that it is actually domed and not flat. and it is actually just a slight dome there. Now the AR on this maybe not the best. I suspect for production it might be slightly better. Okay, around the dial, what we have here is a very smooth turning bi-directional pilot slide rule bezel. Okay, so there's no clicks here. It's a smooth turning, and it's got a stainless steel insert. This insert is ceramic. He's chosen stainless steel because of the everyday, I guess, MO of this watch. Ceramic does have a risk of shattering, whereas steel will not. It will dent, but it will not shatter. Right? That's the choice he's made there. I think that's absolutely fair enough. Now there's a pilot slide rule here, so that I'm not an expert on this, but I'm going to try to explain one of the particular uses of this. And for example, if you want to calculate your ETA per type of travel speed, per travel speed, let's say I want to travel at 90 kilometers an hour. So I'm going to align the 90. Sorry, I had to bring it closer to my face here. So I'm going to align the 90 to the 60 at the top there. So for example, right there would give you the 90 that's aligned with the red mark at the 12 o'clock position there. And let's say I want to calculate how fast would it take me to go 30 miles away. So 90 miles an hour, how far would it take for me to go 30 miles an hour? So look up 30 right on the outside scale here, and that's 30 there, and you can see it aligns with 20 minutes. And you can work that out in your head, but if you had more uneven numbers, you can see how that might come in handy. You can also use it for multiplication. I'm not going to go into that here. You can look it up how to do it if you wish to know how to use the slide rule, which can be a pretty handy little tool here. They've gone for that very kind of practical application. Moving on from that now, so bracelet and straps. The bracelet that is currently linked to the watch here, I guess it's an engineer style bracelet. I want to say it's a little bit more refined than most engineers I've ever seen. This almost got a Breitling type of feel here. 5 piece per link, stainless steel bracelet. The production will have a taper. This one doesn't, but the production model will be planned to taper to 18 millimeters, which is a nice choice here, and will also have screws rather than push pins for the adjustment. The clasp here is pretty nicely done. You can see all the arms and the clasps are solid. It's got a push button release, and the production model will have 4-point micro adjust rather than just the 2-point that you see here. Okay, so that's the stainless steel bracelet. Let's slap it on the wrist for a wrist shot for you guys now. So remembering, it's only 11.5 millimeters on the thickness. That's how that bracelet looks like. And, it is actually 48.5 lug to lug, which, kind of sits okay. It is actually a pretty, on the larger side with 41.5 millimeter on that bezel there. So it's got great wrist presence, but, with that lug distance, it still sits okay on my 17 centimeter wrist here. Okay, so that's the bracelet. The strap itself is an FKM black rubber with brush hardware. Nothing too special, but it doesn't catch any lint, which is really nice, and it really sits quite comfortably. So of course I'll show a wrist shot for you guys to see how it looks like here. Okay, that's the entire description of the watch. What have I enjoyed? What I think are the great points about this watch. I think it's a refreshing take on the Aviator watch. I think it's got a fairly original dial. It's got a practical bezel idea, not completely original. And of course the the Navi timer, the Breitling Navi timer makes this famous, but this balance really just makes it look really quite good. It's almost got a moon watch type of look to it, or some of it would no doubt remind you of the Navi timer. But it's quite a good looking combination. I like it, and it's got 2 appropriate straps that they've included. Right, they're both waterproof, so you can take this everywhere if you want to. They've included a no date movement, the 9039, so good on them for putting in a no date rather than a ghost date position. Good bracelet, right? This particular steel bracelet is a good one. It doesn't feel like it's an OEM bracelet, it feels original, and it's got a nicely done clasp. I think they've done a lot of good things here, and the production model will even improve on that with a taper to 18 millimeters. All the specs are as expected, right? 28,800 beats per hour movement. It's got good lume, it's got sapphire crystal, and it's got an everyday use water resistant rating of 100 meters with a screw down crown, right? The only thing that maybe people might have some gripe with is whether it should have a ceramic insert on the bezel, but hey, he's given a good reason why they've stuck with stainless steel. The Moonwatch still uses aluminium. I think it's fair enough. I think that choice there has been made. Any weaknesses? Well, look, I think many people these days are expecting maximum of $300-ish, for watches with a Miyota 9000 series movement. But hey, look, I think there has been some design, there has been some great thought that has gone into this, and does that justify $350 price tag for intro? I reckon it does, but let me know what you think. I think that is some discussion that's going to be around the pricing, maybe. Let me know. Look forward to hearing what you guys think. I think the success will depend on how well they target the correct and the appropriate audience for this particular watch. I think slight differential finishing, maybe a polish bevel here might have lifted it. Yes, practically you don't want polish, I guess, if you're going completely full practical, but for beauty, I think a slight degree of polished touch, maybe on the side of the bracelet as well, would have been a very easy way to lift this watch slightly. And there we go. That's my thoughts on the Atmoss SR-01 Everyday Pilot's Watch. Let me know what you guys think below. Thank you again, guys, for sticking with me. And as usual, I'll see you guys next time.